lot of other groups of people get to enjoy free time in a way that Black women just don't.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Winter. This is the third episode of my Black Feminine Luxe series here on my YouTube channel. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing why Black women don't typically share the intimate details of their lifestyles when they are high earners, and why the Lavishly Jackie platform by Jackie Aina is so incredibly important to the Black women in luxury movement. And we're just going to take a real deep dive look into being a high earner, being a Black woman, living in America, or being outside of the country, and what that means. Let's start with feelings. I want us to take a listen at Staci Flowers beautifully state all and many of the feelings that Black women feel when they enter into the space of high earners. We're talking about 6 and 7 figures, and what that lifestyle is, and how you feel when you have finally reached something that seemed so unattainable before, that is now within your hands, within your reach. It is your lifestyle. She goes into really great detail about how she's feeling now that she has stepped into the realm and the role of a high earning Black woman, and what that means for her as it stands and as she feels currently.
Your money, you don't have any problems, and if you do have problems, you really don't have any negative feelings. But the truth about my experience is that nope, I'm feeling more negative feelings than positive feelings, and I know that if I don't express them, they are not going to be processed in the way that I process, and then thus I'm not going to be able to continue to make more money. And ultimately, I want to continue to make more money. I want to be a millionaire, but I'm having a very difficult time being someone who's a 6-figure earner. So if I'm having a difficult time being a 6-figure earner, the chances of me allowing myself to be a millionaire is slim to none. So this is a part of that process. So without further rambling, the top 4 feelings, and I'm going to explain them individually, that are my dominant feelings about how much money I'm earning, are insecure, and I'm already getting emotional, man. All right. Are insecure, angry. I wrote down ashamed and guilty, and I want to say guilty, but the true feeling is ashamed and uncomfortable. And you may be listening to this and you may be like, what? Those are the feelings? Yeah, listen, imagine feeling them, okay? Like imagine making $20,000 in a month, working part-time. I didn't want to cry. In a company that you built, this is the dream, and your dominant feelings are insecure, angry, ashamed, and uncomfortable. Kind of sucks. And yeah, so the first feeling that I feel is insecure. And I am not an insecure person at all. It just feels, it's like there's like a extreme discomfort in my personhood around the money.
Insecure, angry, uncomfortable, and ashamed. Those are the feelings that Staci Flowers are feeling because she's now a high earning Black woman. And you would think it would be the opposite. Now you're earning 5, 6, 7 figures possibly from honestly living a lifestyle that can now be described as leisure. If you're unfamiliar with Staci Flowers, I would highly suggest watching her videos. She began on YouTube documenting her journey of getting herself out of debt and how she was going to build a better financial life for herself. She's been on YouTube for a couple of years, and now she is a high earner. When I watched this video, it really kind of made me uncomfortable because I didn't expect that to be her answer when she answers the question as how it feels to be a high earning Black woman. I didn't expect that this woman who had taught me and is continuing to teach me and so many other Black women and people in general how to have a better financial life, I didn't think that she would be feeling insecure, angry, uncomfortable, or ashamed for making more money. But then, as I rewatched the video 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, I realized, oh yeah, Staci's a Black woman. And Black women are not told that they are meant to be high earners. Black women are not told that they can earn lavishly by living a life of leisure. Black women aren't told that they can rest and earn money too. Now, Staci being a financial channel, a financial wellness channel, that's how I like to categorize it, right, is a channel that talks about money a lot. And Staci has always been extremely, extremely transparent about just how much money she's earning on YouTube, just exactly how she's paying off her debt, paying down her debts, how she's investing, building credit, so on and so forth. But you do see this shift as you get into her more recent videos. You do see a shift in her, I don't want to say personality, but I'll say a shift in her spirit, because she's feeling these feelings of insecurity, anger, being uncomfortable, and being ashamed, because now she's making an amount of money that she was never making before, and that the people in her life aren't making either. She even discusses in the video, that she recognizes and realizes she's not working maybe as hard physically, right? In terms of physical labor, she isn't working as hard as the other people in her life are, friends and family alike, but she's earning 2, 3, 4, 5 times more than they are, not just in a year, but in a month, right? And when you enter into that sort of high earning, it kind of makes sense that as a Black woman, you would start to feel insecure, angry, uncomfortable, and ashamed, because the programming is you're not supposed to make this much money. And if you are making this much money, it's certainly supposed to be backed up by strenuous physical labor. And that's just not the case. That's just not the reality. It's not Staci's reality. And it's not the reality for so many other Black women who are high earners. Now, this got me thinking about the question, okay, so if these are all the feelings that Black women are feeling, if some Black women, I'm not going to say all, but if these are the feelings that some Black women are feeling, especially high earning Black women, well, why don't they share more and build community more and, let each other inside of their psyche so that there can be a healing going on? Because when you really think about it historically in America, go take it all the way down back to Madam C.J. Walker, Black women, no matter if they have labored extremely hard or if they have just been the recipient of an inheritance, anytime a Black woman is making a lot of money, there has to be some shame attached to it. Anytime a Black woman is requesting more, is demanding more for herself in her lifestyle, there's some shame attached to it. And so you would think that by this point we would have created spaces to build community. Now, I'm not saying those spaces don't exist. I'm actually saying there just need to be more of them. So here's why I argue that the Lavishly Jackie platform is one that is necessary to the reprogramming of Black women and luxury, but also just Black women being high earners, and understanding that in order to be a high earner, you don't have to labor in the traditional sense of labor. Now, I'm going to get back to this point about laboring and working really hard and where all that comes from and why Black women are kind of uncomfortable sharing the intimate details of their lifestyle when they're high earners. But first, let's take a listen to Stephanie Perry, who is a Black expat, meaning she no longer lives in America. She lives outside of the country. She's basically a professional house sitter and so much more. Let's listen to Stephanie Perry give her opinions and thoughts on laboring as a Black woman, what that means, and why we have this uncomfortable relationship with being at rest and living a life of leisure.
Hustle culture does tell us we got to keep going. If you have 5 free minutes in your week, you need to find a way to fill those 5 free minutes. It's time for you to go back to school. It's time for you to start a business. A lot of other people, a lot of other groups of people get to enjoy free time in a way that Black women just don't. This whole channel, with 1 million views so far, is here to help you examine how you can get free time and how you can use that free time to decide what's next for you. If you find yourself saying to someone, I need a break, I'm gonna take a break, and their response is hold on to that job with everything you can, with all of your might, you need to stop them and tell them that that is fruit of the slavery tree, and that they, by repeating that thought, are being an agent of white supremacy. Yeah, I said it. If you uphold the idea that people are what they do, that people's value is in their job, then you are propagating the ideas that slavery brought to this country. And you are an agent of white supremacy. I'm not. I'm not. I am an advocate for working as little as possible. All right, so I hope that you take some time and you look at the loyalties that you have. You look at the things that you have made a priority in your life over your actual dreams. And I hope that you examine why this thing has become a priority and you shift it. Shift that priority, all right? If you follow me on Instagram, I'm at Vicarious. My hair is gonna look good today, tomorrow, maybe even the next day, but not for long, okay? Because I'm gonna be out there walking and sweating. I'm in Mexico, I'm in La Paz, Mexico, in a beautiful beach town, in a beautiful hotel, treated myself to a little hotel stay for a while. But I'm going to utilize the awesome resources that La Paz gives me, which is a really cool boardwalk or malecon, like a pier. The sun is out, I'm gonna be sweating, my hair is not gonna stay cute. But my priority is to get out and move my body, not to keep my hair looking good over everything else. Does that analogy make some sense to you? We have to prioritize and we have to live out our priorities. It's one thing to have the priorities on paper, but we have to live them out. Yes, that means quitting your job. All right.
I think they should change the narrative, though.
Jackie Aina lives her life lavishly and luxuriously and boldly. Jackie is so important to me, and I really wanted to proclaim that very loudly. Jackie Aina is doing something necessary, honestly. When I think about luxury, the first images that come to my mind aren't always Black women, and that has to do with the conditioning and programming that I've experienced over the years. Seeing Jackie Aina reach new heights has actualized what we have been told could only be fantasy. So often, the Black woman living like Jackie Aina doesn't share what she's experiencing out of fear. The fear for their safety, the fear of being judged, the fear of being alienated by their own community. And that's what upsets me most. Black women afraid to share their success because nobody expects us to succeed anyway. Jackie Aina continues to succeed. She continues to share, be generous and charitable and just good-natured, in my opinion. We have to start recognizing when Black women are actually fighting a fight for all of us. Jackie Aina is. It's more than perfume, fancy bags, and makeup. It's the reprogramming of the psyche of all Black peoples. You deserve rest. You deserve to be lavish, luxurious, and wealthy. You can rest, period. And it's hard work creating the content that Jackie Aina does as consistently as she does. So let's honor and respect that when we see it. You don't have to like it, but also you're not doing it. So maybe just be quiet about it. You don't have to engage with media and content that you don't enjoy. I'll say it again. You don't have to engage with media and content that you don't enjoy. When Jackie Aina made the choice to create the Lavishly Jackie platform, some people felt that she was being braggadocious, missing the entire point, in my opinion. How often is a Black woman, as successful as Jackie Aina is, being that transparent about her lifestyle? Jackie is sharing with us, and the Lavishly Jackie platform is so necessary, especially right now. Jackie Aina is helping change the narrative for you, for me, for us. And that's what we call important work. It's what I call important work. It may seem to be about the lipsticks and the fancy clothes, but like I said, it's about the reprogramming and the uplifting. What has been taught to little black girls and honestly all black children is that they shouldn't dream to live a life of leisure. And Jackie Aina is disrupting that narrative. She is boldly saying that's not true. If you want to rest, you can rest and earn money too. There's a reprogramming that's happening every single time Jackie Aina posts to the Lavish Jackie platform on Instagram. Black children, black women, and all black peoples are taking in content that says you're worthy of this lifestyle and it is attainable. It bothers people so much, even other black folks, that Jackie Aina can be at ease, that Jackie Aina can be at rest, that there's more ease in her life and that her survival in this world has become a little less difficult, that it's even enjoyable. I mean, my goodness, a black woman enjoying her life loudly? It must be a crime. But it's not. It's her birthright, and it's yours too. Women who are enjoying that access are bullied. See, I realize that a lot of people really don't want to see black women enjoy life. When black women start to enjoy life and gain access to all of these things we associate with non-blackness, the black women who are enjoying that access are then bullied. And Jackie Aina has literally been bullied for sharing her success. Isn't that ridiculous? This is why when I see Jackie Aina being so dedicated to sharing, to educating, and uplifting, I can't help but appreciate her even more. Jackie has such a commitment to the success of black women that the Lavishly Jackie platform is an act of resistance that's necessary. Jackie Aina will not allow you or anyone else to shame black women into labor, into stress, into anxiety, or anything else, all because they've just figured out how to rest and earn money too. And honestly, content creation is not an easy gig, so please ease up on Jackie. Y'all see them angles she be giving us? Okay? You're not doing it. Don't engage with media that you don't enjoy, okay? Don't do things that make you unhappy. It's your choice. Be happy. Jackie Aina has made the choice to be public about her success. She could have easily made her YouTube videos, launched her brands, and gone on about her business. But what did she do instead? She launched the Lavishly Jackie platform and invited us into her world of luxury. This is incredibly important to the movement of black women in luxury because we have yet to see someone as successful as Jackie Aina be so open about the luxurious lifestyle. Right now, we can't even begin to understand how important it is that Jackie is doing this. Most black women and people in general, as I've discussed before, when they reach a certain level of success, they just do not share those things with the public. Jackie Aina made a choice to share it with the public because who else is doing it? We need these representations. What other black woman is doing it on the level that Jackie is? The transparency that we receive from Jackie Aina is enough to say thank you. I remember when Jackie was talking about being in the military, her first marriage, and just a lot of things that she no longer really publicly discusses because that's how I was introduced to Jackie Aina. And Jackie Aina doesn't owe us anything. She doesn't have to be transparent about how she is living her life. Not at all. It's not our business. But what Jackie understands, I believe, is the importance of her presence within the community that she is now a member of. And that's someone who sits in a higher tax bracket and who's black. It's very clear that Jackie Aina's wallet is heavy. And that's because she works hard and she also works smarter. Like I said, she could have just collected her coins and shared nothing, but she continues to share and she continues to educate, and that honestly is a privilege. How much Jackie Aina shares with us is a privilege. And I'm thankful that she launched the Lavishly Jackie platform to share more with us. We're going to really begin to understand how important Lavishly Jackie is very, very soon. I'm telling you all, it's more than these fancy bags and these perfumes. Jackie Aina is setting a new standard. She's documenting this new standard and she's laying out a blueprint. And that means for everyone that comes after her, the door has been left open and the bar has been set higher, but it's been set high in a way where she knows we can achieve it too if we just follow the blueprint and tweak it to fit our lifestyles and what we want and desire. And this is so important to the success of all black people who desire to enter that space. I believe, this is my opinion. Jackie Aina gets up every day and sets a standard not only for herself, but for all that come after her. And that's a beautiful thing. Trust and believe that when you ask for more and it is met with a yes, in this realm that Jackie Aina is, which is the beauty industry, the lifestyle industry, and YouTube and social media in that way, content creation in that way, just trust and believe that when you ask for more and it is met with a yes, it is also because of Jackie Aina demanding more. Trust and believe.
that we need to give jealousy a little bit more grace. We need to be giving it a little bit more grace. We need to be given a little bit more understanding. And I think we need to have real conversations that don't just involve our ego when we're discussing jealousy. If we're able to do that, we have a real shot at being able to move forward when jealous actions affect our interpersonal relationships and our relationships with self, in which the engagement looks like increased levels of experiences with police brutality and state violence, lack of resources such as food, housing, clothing, basic necessities. Why would we expect people who are experiencing these things, because of how the world has unfairly categorized them, to not sometimes feel instances of jealousy? I think that in reality, it's not really jealousy more than it is an intense understanding that other people's survival is going to be easier than mine because of things I cannot change about myself. Why would we then relate jealousy to personal fault rather than to a systemic issue? Now, this is not to say that every instance of jealousy is due to an issue of inequity, but I do think that most instances are due to inequity. And I think if we live in a capitalistic society, then that's going to remain true. The reality is that if we live in a society that requires that we need more in order to feel happy with ourselves and our lives, we are going to see people feel jealous, because not only are we equating having more to our survival, but we are equating having more to our happiness. And if people don't feel happy, if people feel like they can't survive, then of course they're going to feel jealous. And even if you aren't in that particular scenario, it doesn't matter what status you're in. If you're in a marginalized community, it's likely that you are always going to be striving for more than what we actually need, because in reality, the world is telling you that you are not worthy until you have more. That's when you become valuable. Once we reshape the ways that we understand jealousy, we can build healthier methods of dealing with jealousy internally and when it comes from other people. The society we live in is fueled because of inequity.
Okay, so maybe we shouldn't just be shouting, y'all just jealous, every time people are expressing their frustration with the systemic structures that make their existence more difficult in a relative sense to others, mainly the folks that they're supposedly jealous of. After watching Simi's video about jealousy, I was left thinking if people were really jealous or if this was just what happens when inequity is at such a mass scale. Is it jealousy or is it fear? Are we afraid that we just won't win at the game of life? Maybe. Or maybe people are just jealous and that's okay, because it is. We all have the capability to achieve great things, but do we all have the access to the resources? It's easy to feel bad about not achieving enough when someone who has less than you or even more than you, seemingly, right through your perception, has achieved more than what you perceive as more. And what exactly is more? Well, in this society, under this regime of capitalism, it's honestly just the basics, because that's how little most have. And so jealousy isn't as evil as we think. Jealousy should be expected. It should be acknowledged. And then there needs to be a plan of action for healing, because all bouts of jealousy aren't due to personal faults, as Simi stated. And yes, there are things about society that make your existence, your survival as a Black woman, more difficult than that of someone non-Black and not a woman. Listen, I'm not saying it's okay for people to misplace their feelings towards their system at you because you have finally figured out how to survive with a bit more ease, but I am asking you to realize maybe that's where those feelings are coming from, and maybe just saying y'all just jealous isn't productive. Now, I'm not saying it's your job to walk anybody through their jealousy, but it is your job for you to stay in a centered state of being so you can still continue expressing what you're expressing because it's necessary, right? I believe that these spaces Black women have carved out for themselves are necessary, even if jealousy is present, because jealousy is going to be present. And I love what Simi says about identifying why the feeling of jealousy is present. It is because of systemic inequities, or it could just be because of personal fault. But we need to be honest in these spaces because they're uncomfortable to be in at times. You know, sometimes scrolling through the black women in luxury and the spoiled black girl and the black feminine looks and all of these things can kind of make you feel uncomfortable because you're just so not used to these kind of depictions of black women. And sometimes the feeling of jealousy starts to creep in because we start to get into our head about these things like futurism and Eurocentrism, which are all very, very real things. But also, what system is upholding those things that even allow someone to have a privilege, so to speak? It could all be relative. Just work with me here. But what system is it that is upholding those ideologies that allow a person to have that privilege where their survival, even as a black woman, right, at times can be just at a little bit more ease or just, you know, a little less difficult than yours. Still difficult, but just a little bit less. So the fact that black women have to even have YouTube channels and Instagram pages and Twitters dedicated to the images of black women at ease says enough. It means we aren't at ease enough. It means we're not seeing black women surviving in this experience of life on earth with ease. And, you know, I'm very glad that more of us black women are deciding to change that narrative, even if it means jealousy will enter the chat. Let it be there. Let jealousy be there. But let's just go to the root of it all and extract and repair what is causing harm. Because are people really just jealous because they're jealous? Or are they jealous because there are systems that we're ignoring that maybe we can tear down if we had a better plan of action?
Black women in America are born into a society that was never built to see us as a community succeed. And so that maybe a few of us or a handful of us can feed into exceptionalism, the American version of exceptionalism, that a few of us can get success, is never going to be replicated by the whole of our community because we don't have the infrastructure. Word to Dr. Patricia Hill Collins, who also sat down with the book club. I'm telling y'all need to join, okay? I'm pulling references from things we've read as a community, who talks about the domains of power and how they are so deeply embedded into our social institutions that anytime we splinter off, no matter how pure our intentions, we ourselves as the oppressed people, as black women, this is in chapter 12 of Black Feminist Thought, we also replicate these hierarchies of power that oppress our community. And there's another video in here that I need to do about how black women absolutely have the ability and capability to harm other black women. But that's another video for another day. Let's stay on topic here and talk about this shame. So what I'm trying to say is B. Simone isn't particularly unique, right? There's been a long history, and you know, I'm a lover of history books, so we can definitely get into how the image of the welfare queen came to be. Why are black women stigmatized as welfare queens when the welfare that we are accessing is part of the Social Security Act of 1934 that also created pensions? White people are not seen as taking from a system when they tap into their pensions that are no longer even available to millennials anymore. But black women are welfare queens when we decide to tap into government resources that help us take care of our households, and to push black women into consumerism is not a new phenomenon. This is not something unique to the approach that B. Simone is taking, which is why when this clip was posted on the Shade Room or on any gossip blog, you see a bevy of blue check celebrities agreeing, and even just a bevy of black folks in general, saying that B. Simone told no lies. There is nothing wrong with what B. Simone said. What B. Simone was doing, and why you see so many people agreeing with her, is I actually want to term it as a form of like a shame creep, right? Because there's actually a theory called the disinformation creep. The disinformation creep is a method where you are using legitimate grievances, factual information, and just slightly distorting it just a little to loop back around to your point. And so it's like, yeah, you know what you're saying, it's kind of right. Like, I kind of do agree with you. I kind of don't want to argue against that. But you know, the way you land just ain't it. Theories but the principles or theories or facts that you're supposedly using to drive that point home are inaccurate. And what B. Simone did is what she's saying inherently wrong? It's that why are we constantly talking to Black women as if Black women are the wrong thing? And that's what ties the technique that B. Simone is using into shame. And she's not the first one to do this. There is a long history of industries, of Black media industries, using shame pointed at Black women as tools of consumerism. So one of the books that I recently listened to on Audible, use my code if you ain't into it, is Melissa Harris Perry's Sister Citizen, which is a play on the Audre Lorde title. We also have Audre Lorde shirts. And shame is a big theme throughout Sister Citizen. There's actually an entire chapter focused on how shame has been used specifically targeted at Black women. And I love the point that Dr. Harris Perry makes about how Black women are born into a crooked room and then constantly told that they are wrong, not that the room is crooked. And so we are constantly trying to contour ourselves and fix ourselves to fit into a room that was never meant to support us. So as I've said previously, Black women in America are born into a society that was never built to see us as a community succeed. And so that maybe a few of us or a handful of us can feed into exceptionalism, the American version of exceptionalism, that a few of us can get success, is never going to be replicated by the whole of our community because we don't have...
So remember all those things that Staci Flowers said about how she felt when she earned more money? Yeah, exactly. So Hill House Vintage is an amazing example of what happens when Black women are seen out and about minding their business, living luxurious lives because they have required just more. They've said, I just want more in this experience. People get upset. White women get upset and Black women get bullied. I think the Hill House Vintage scenario is a really a great example of why Black women, kind of keep to themselves when they're living these lifestyles. Hill House Vintage was really just on her side of the internet, minding her business, posting her life. This white woman got mad, thought, how dare this woman express such opulence during these difficult times, which is like, sis, relax. This is her literal life. She's been living like this for a very, very long time, since before all that's going on has been going on. And also, like, mind your business. Why are you pocket watching this Black woman? And also, how is seeing an image of a Black body, a Black woman's body at ease, making you like that upset that your visceral response was to run to Twitter and say such horrible, horrible, horrible things? But that, honestly, that example, like that whole scenario, like seeing it in real time, because I was one of the people that saw the tweet, saw everyone going off, went and followed Hill House Vintage. It was like, what? Nah, we liking everything, we commenting everything, like we going up for sis. But just being like, damn, Black women being at ease, Black women figuring out how to experience life in a way that just makes their existence not as difficult, really bothers people. And at times, it even bothers us. At times, it even bothers us, and we can be guilty of making each other feel guilty and shameful for getting there. But I'm not going to put all that on us. I absolutely am not, because it's not for us to carry. It's for us to recognize, and it's for us to change the narrative. It's for us to heal whatever damage has been done, because it's high time that we get it in our minds that we deserve to rest. There's nothing wrong with a Black woman being at ease.